Peace and blessings, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. This is Chapter 8, True to the Game by Teri Woods. Home. Once they were inside the suite, Quad tried to call Rassan. He had no success. The phone rang and rang. He's probably sleeping, Gina said. Quadir sat there with the receiver to his ear, waiting ever so patiently for someone to answer the phone. Baby, hang up the phone and just call him in the morning. He finally took her advice, but couldn't get it off his mind. Don't you think he must have really wanted something if he called 4 times? Yes, and I'm sure he will call you in the morning if it's really that important. She sounded convincing, but Quadir had a feeling that something wasn't right. He ended up trying again, but there was still no answer. Gina, back in her room, was undressing for a shower, making sure Quadir was aware of it as she moved around him naked. Can I take a shower with you? Smirking at her success and getting his mind off the phone call, she told him, You can do whatever you want. They had less than 5 hours of sleep. It was 10:30 a.m. and the sound of the phone woke Gina. Hello? What's up, Gina? It's Ra. Where's Quadir? The voice said. Half asleep, she called out for Quadir, passing him the phone. It's Rassan. The minute Quadir heard the name Rassan, he woke right up when she handed him the receiver. Finding an upright position, he mumbled to Rassan as he woke from his sleep. What happened? Gina listened to Quadir's end of the conversation, feeling something was wrong by the tone of his voice. Kenny did what? Quadir asked. Pausing, he replied, With my 9? Why mine's? Why you give him mine? Gina steadily nudged Quad, wanting to know what he was talking about. He was gathering all the facts as quickly as he could. Rock's dead? Questioned Quad. Gina heard the name and knew exactly who Quadir was talking about. It was such a small world. The same people Gina knew were the same people Quadir knew. He got shot in the head? What about the money? Asked Quadir, waiting to hear that it was fucked up too. We got the money and the yayo, said Rassan. Yo, what are you two, Tony and Manny, up in this motherfucker? Find out what Kenny Bell is and stay by the phone. I'm coming home. He replaced the receiver and turned to Gina. Baby, come on, we gotta get home. Someone killed a friend of mine. Who? Asked Gina, knowing the vacation was over. I don't know who, he said, shaking his head as if he really didn't know. Guess what? My young boy killed his pops last night. Who? Said Gina. Remember Kenny? He was in the back seat of the BMW the night we met. Yeah? Well, him. His pops was always beating on him and his mom, and I guess he just snapped. Gina got dressed and called the airport, switching reservations for an early flight. She was unable to get first class and prayed they wouldn't be seated in the rear, next to the engine. The bellboy collected all of their luggage and took it downstairs. The same cabbie who had given them a tour of the island as he found his way was there to pick them up. He placed the luggage in the trunk of his cab and opened the door so that Quadir and Gina could get in the back seat. You know where you going, boss? Quadir asked him as he shook his hand. Where you go? Rastaman asked. The airport. Oh, the airport. We can find that. Quadir pulled Gina over to him and whispered, We're gonna miss this flight. He asked the cabbie, Do you know where the airport is? Of course, me know. Of course, me know. Me can find it, man. Me just look right here for a minute. Gina couldn't believe the same driver who found his way from the airport was trying to find his way back there. He is looking at a map. We'll never get there. I might as well drive. Might as well. What if we don't make the flight? She asks. We have to make the flight. Finally, they reached the airport. Quadir paid the cabbie and gave him another nice tip. The cabbie got their bags out the car and sat them on the sidewalk so they could be checked in. Take care, man, of yourself and your lovely lady. May the Spirit of the Lord be blessed upon you both. Mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. He shook Gina's hand and then Quadir's, adding, Another place and time, sir. Then he walked back to the cab. God, is he spiritual or what? Said Gina, feeling a little chill. For some reason, that Jamaican taxi driver who rode them around in circles when they first arrived in Nassau and rode them around on their way seemed to touch them both in a way that neither of them understood. Once they were safely on board the plane, Kwa started chewing gum and stuffing cottons in his ears just like the last time. "Quadir, you look crazy," said Gina as she glanced toward him. "Everything is gonna be alright. Here, give me your hand." She placed it between her legs. "See? You'll be fine." "It's good, but it's not gonna save me," thought Quadir as he closed his eyes and started praying. Gina sat back and looked out the window. She could no longer see the clouds. It was wonderful to be above the clouds, physically and spiritually. She was on a natural high thinking about Quadir. He gave her such inspiration. He wasn't like the other guys. He had an aura about him that made you want to get close to him. Like the night she met him, it wanted to touch his face. There was something regal about him, and she could not say no to. So far removed from Jamal, it was different, as if she had no resistance to the man at all. And the way he looked at her last night and putting his thing down, Lord, Gina was fucked up and happy about the whole situation. She looked over at Quadir. "Do you like me?" she wondered as she stared at his eyelids, which complemented his completely relaxed face. After a few minutes of thinking to herself about last night and where the two of them now stood, Gina found herself asking the stewardess for a piece of paper. "Thank you." "Sure thing," she said, looking at Quadir's hand stuffed between Gina's legs. Gina covered very nicely, telling her his hand was cold as she picked up his limp wrist. "It's warm now," she added, putting Quadir's hand back on his lap. The stewardess smiled and went on about her merry way as Gina rummaged in her bag for a pen. She wanted to write a poem for him. She sat there for more than an hour thinking about last night. It was over her head. How could she express it? All the time she had thought she was having sex was a waste of time. Nothing was like last night. When he awoke from his cat nap, she handed him the piece of paper. Quadir took the poem and turned on his overhead light, reading silently. The dream. My eyes are closed, but I see you so clear. I stare in your eyes and the world disappears. Leaving us together so no one can see. Your body moves closer so you're next to me. Your fingers unbutton and take off my clothes. Your hands moving all over from my head to my toes. Without delay, you start to play. Your brown and warm fingers will find their own way. It's feeling so good, and when I touch you back, you're long and you're hard and it makes me wet. I kiss your chest in a rapture sublime as your fingers play music in 3/4 time. We're caught up in the rapture without a doubt. You push my head lower, I open my mouth. Hours pass by, you pick up my face, and the look in your eyes states so simply your case. You flip it and turn it and throw it around until you have me face down on the ground. You found your position, ass up in the air. You get behind me and force it in there. Pushing whatever is stopping your stroke. You fuck me for hours like you're going for broke. You totally flip and you're out of control. Your love is insane and I am your goal. You're ready to nut, not a minute too soon. I hear the alarm and I'm back in my room. I open my doors and I hear the door shut. I thought I was dreaming, but we really did fuck. Quadir just looked at her. He couldn't believe her little poem had made his dick hard. "Come here," he said, pulling her face close enough to kiss her. He folded up the paper and put it in his pocket. The stewardess walked by and Quadir asked her how much longer the flight would be. He was so glad. He wanted it to be over. He wanted to be home. Because of so many cancellations, they were able to get a flight straight to Philadelphia. "I had the best time of my life, Quadir," she said, looking into his eyes. "I did too. I wish I was still there." "I know. Remember you fell off that jet ski and almost killed us?" She laughed. "Yeah, and remember that wave that snuck up behind you and tumbled your ass to the shore?" He was laughing as hard as she was. It was really the best. Especially, last night, she said. "Yeah, it was all that. It was so blue." "So blue?" he said, looking puzzled. "Yeah, the opposite of having the blues is so blue." She paused for a moment, thinking about the time she spent with him, then added, "I wish we didn't have to go home." He took her hand and squeeze. But we have to go, G. We have to go home. Thank y'all for tuning into this chapter. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts. You got any concerns, any questions, any comments? Let me know. Peace out.